our next speaker, I am honored to introduce a friend. He's now the Chief Technology Advisor for Meralco, the Philippines' largest power distribution utility. He provides guidance for the company's corporate information technologies, corporate technology transfer, and corporate management functions. In addition, Gavin acts as an advisor on a number of market and industry issues and sits on the Meralco Management Committee. Gavin is a well-recognized expert on both the Philippine and Singapore energy market, and he has spoken to a number of conferences on this. He was involved in the design and the development of both the Singapore National Electricity Market and the Philippine Wholesale Electricity Spot Market. So I'm pleased to introduce to you Mr. Gavin Barfield.
Congressman Mali, Senator Lagada, Chair Salazar, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga, good morning. As we all know, and as we've heard from the previous presentations, the world is constantly changing, and the electricity industry is no exception. Many traditional businesses have been overtaken with what we call their digital equivalents over the past few years. And digital disruption is not a matter of when it's happened, it's happening. If we take, for example, these 7 very different industries: transportation, hospitality, telecoms, retail, media, and software. Who knows the world's largest transport company? It's not a taxi firm, it's not a bus firm, it's not a train company, it's Uber. The largest accommodation provider, but they don't own any hotels or any boarding houses. It's Airbnb. The largest telco that doesn't own any infrastructure, Skype or WeChat. The world's most valuable retailer that doesn't have any stores, Alibaba and Amazon. The most popular media company that owns no content, Facebook. The world's largest movie house that doesn't own any movie houses, Netflix, and the largest software vendor that doesn't actually write much software code, the Google and Apples of the world. But technology disruption is not new. Technology has always disrupted business. It forces business to adapt, and it forces us to change our products and service offerings in order to keep up to date with technology advancements. But the infusion of technology and never-before imagined connectivity is what is accelerating the pace of these disruptors. It took decades for the telephone to reach 50% of households, while it took cell phones just 5 years to reach the same penetration. It took 38 years for the radio to reach 50 million users, but it only took the game Angry Birds, which I hope nobody's playing at the moment, 36 days to reach the same user base. We need to recognize that globally, a technology-fueled transformation of utility markets is changing the ground that we stand on. It's challenging traditional business models, and it's forcing utilities to disrupt or be disrupted. The industry is undergoing what we're calling a digital transformation as a result of major change drivers. Firstly, and as we've discussed in length this morning, technology is changing the way we generate and the way we distribute power. Technology is also driving more efficiency in our energy use. New and innovative, pervasive technologies are changing the way we manage our network and manage our operations. Our customers are changing, our workforce is changing, and as we've just heard from the ERC, deregulation and retail competition is changing the industry. The impact of these drivers is gaining pace, and utilities globally around the world are forced to pivot and reinvent their operations. So let's look quickly at these elements. First, there's changes to the way that we generate and distribute power. And as we've heard in length this morning, solar PV installations in 2015 in the US increased 34% over 2014 numbers. And the solar market has set a new record, installing 7.3 gigawatts of solar PV in 2015. And the same is true here in the Philippines. We've seen SM North EDSA solar-powered mall in 2014 with 1.5 megawatts generating capacity, continuing to install solar panels on their malls. Solar farms have sprung up. We've seen the 63.6 megawatt solar farm in Batangas, which is the largest solar farm in Luzon, recently commissioned. And what we're seeing is renewables now reaching that grid parity level. And the feed-in tariffs that the chair of the ERC discussed this morning have driven this influx of solar and wind investors into the country. When alternatives become competitive in terms of cost or performance, as a distribution utility, we must ensure that the grid is able to handle this influx of solar and renewables into the grid. And as we heard earlier, the cost of solar and battery is falling fast. For residential solar, install costs could fall to less than $3 per watt by 2020, and lithium-ion batteries could fall to less than 300 kilowatts in the same period. And for me, battery is a game changer. Eventually, battery and other forms of storage will help manage this intermittency into the grid. A more sophisticated demand-side management, like demand response, will be needed to help us handle the large swings in generations caused by an ever-growing amount of renewables within the network. So looking in the US, Tesla Motors, the manufacturer of EVs and Powerwall, has now recently partnered with Panasonic, and they're building this gigafactory in Nevada, which aims to achieve batteries economies of scale and drive down the cost of their own lithium-ion batteries that they use in their cars and in their Powerwall by more than 30% in its first year of production. And they're even talking about the $150 per kilowatt hour range. But by 2040, electric vehicles are looking to draw 1,900 terawatts of electricity which will need to be supplied. Second point, technology is driving more efficiency in our energy use. We can see that energy efficiency is improving. Over the past 10 to 15 years, improvements have been seen in homes, appliances, and lighting. And increasing annual investment in renewable energy in the power sector has risen from $270 billion in 2014 to $400 billion projected in 2030. Utilities in many developed countries are facing flat or even declining demand, coupled with the burden of hundreds of millions of billions of dollars of infrastructure investment. This renewables and energy efficiency is reducing volumes for distribution utilities and from retailers, and the resulting cost is then spread over fewer and fewer kilowatt hours, making prices potentially rise. And this increased cost of power is making solar renewables efficient even more attractive, with further reduces demand and increases the prices. And you get into what many predict may well be a death spiral of constantly reducing energy prices, constantly reducing solar and battery prices, causing fewer kilowatt hours, and then causing the attractiveness of such offers to become greater. The way out of this death spiral is regulatory reform for us to increase operational efficiency and for utilities to adopt new business models and revenue streams. Aside from the energy efficiency and pervasive and innovative digital technologies are driving transformation in our industry. It's changing the way we manage our network. It's changing the way we manage our operations. It's really the convergence of many different types of technology, information technology with operational technology, together with social media, big data, mobile and location-aware technology, cloud computing, sensors, in-memory computing, advanced metering, new communications technology. All of these things are shifting the ground that we stand on. And what we're seeing is the line between information technology and operational technology is merging. The management and control of grid technologies are now leveraging off IT advancements. And utilities are now facing a convergence of IT and OT solutions to attain higher efficiency and more reliable performance. We're seeing that advances in information and communications technology is enabling a whole variety of features that we can introduce, from advanced network automation, advanced metering infrastructure, and further increase of renewables into the grid. Our smart grid is enabling new services and new services, and utilities are making this investment to support theft detection, reduction of bad debt, operational efficiencies, improve customer service, competitive advantage when we enter a retail space, reduce peak demand, reduce energy loss, more customer involvement, more renewable energy integration. The smart metering, or the AMI deployment, represents the first step in an integrated smart grid for many utilities. The 10 largest national deployments worldwide are expected to add 500 million new smart meters by 2020, approximately tripling the 2012 global install base. And what we're seeing in the smart metering area is that the focus is shifting from North America to Europe, and then Latin America and to Asia. In China, they've already installed 326 million smart meters and are installing more and more per day. Technology like this smart metering allows suppliers and distribution utilities and retailers to understand customers' usage pattern and needs better. And it allows us to use that knowledge to develop new products and new services and expand into new markets and business opportunities. At Meralco, our smart grid program is built around 3 core pillars. One is around advanced network automation, which is around how we can automate our distribution and substations, advanced distribution management system, which we're currently installing, and more intelligence on our asset management. The second one is around our AMI, advanced metering infrastructure. We're rolling out our prepaid electricity service, one to offer similar for postpaid customers, and then looking at AMI for network analytics. And pillar 3 is around many things we've discussed this morning, which is around our green agenda. How can we introduce demand response so that we can reduce energy demand instead of generating more power? How can we introduce microgrids, including integrated solar and battery storage, so that we can manage areas of our network instead of having to install more and more infrastructure and generate more and more power? And how can we support the development and evolution of electric vehicles within the Philippines? But smart meters are only just one of the type of devices in an ever more connected world. Accenture estimates that there'll be 50 billion connected things by 2030. And Gartner estimates that this year, 5.5 million new things will get connected almost every day. Collectively, this is known as the Internet of Things, where everything is becoming connected, from smart meters to the watch that I'm wearing. But for DUs, this offers a wealth of potential, as we can offer new data-driven services and a much higher level of automation. But it all begins with our smart meters, as well as these other endpoints and sensors we're installing in parts of our network. And what we're seeing from an IT perspective, and many of these technologies are enabled from what we call the third IT platform. We've moved from those mainframe days to the client-server days to a whole new computing platform where we're looking at cloud, social media, big data, and mobility, together with IoE. This is going to affect every company, but it's particularly relevant for us in the utility industry. Today, scalable IT capabilities are delivered as a service over the cloud. This provides some flexibility and agility in adopting technology solutions across business lines. It allows this dynamic provision of resources, faster time to market, and can encourage innovation and fast response. We all know social media, certainly in the Philippines, and we saw this in the election, has become the most pervasive platform for idea and information creation and exchange, capturing these thoughts and sentiments permanently in the digital space. Meralco is embracing what we call social listening, so that we can judge sentiment about what people are saying, what our customers are talking about us online, and we can address those issues. From a study provided by Nelson, it's estimated that within our franchise area, 97% already have access to the internet, with around 60% on Facebook accounts. Let's talk about data. Utility data volumes are growing fast, and as we move from interval readings every 15 minutes away from a once-a-month reading, the volume of our data is growing and growing. We, as all utilities do, face a challenge of how to harness the value of that data, how to turn that data into value for us as a company, and importantly for our customers as well. In addition to the metering data, there's a flood of other data coming in from sensors on the network, weather, social media, etc. Big data is about making that data accessible to everybody so we can draw insights from the data and translate that into action. Through this big data, we can better understand our customers' usage, we can offer improved service levels and availability to prevent energy theft and to promote more reliability on the network. And really, this combination of IoT and big data is a great opportunity for us to improve the quality of our distribution network and the quality of our customer service. Next pillar is really about mobility. Mobility is the biggest of the third IT platform, has been brought about by the rise of smartphones and the rise of tablets. In Asia Pacific, there's 2.1 billion mobile phone users, a figure equal to about 62% of the population. And this year, China will account for about 1 billion mobile phone users in Asia Pacific. But around 71.5 million is in the Philippines, and I think we're the selfie capital of the world, so we shall follow that tradition. There we go. And what we're seeing is within our Meralco area, cell phone penetration is already virtually at 100%. And we're starting to use things like SMS as a real way to communicate to our customers. And as we continue to adopt this mobile technology, it allows us to empower our employees to work anytime, anywhere. So let's talk about the most important thing in Meralco, and that's customers. Who remembers these things? Fax machine, Best Buy, Blockbuster Video, Yellow Pages, Encyclopedia Britannica, junk mail, even the fixed phone. If any of you have ever tried to explain the concept of a fax to a teenager, it'll be very confusing why you need to write something, put it in a machine, it pops out the other end, etc. But they're the technologies that are still part of our industry. And as we move and our customers change, and as these teenagers become our customers, we have to adapt to our technology. The rapid change of technology means that the electricity industry is on the brink of a huge transformation, bringing us up to speed with other services like banking. Customers want a higher level of transparency, and they're expecting more convenience from their utility. And research has shown that this digitally enabled consumers have more trust and more satisfaction with their energy providers, and we can leverage on that relationship. Customers are no longer satisfied with a single monthly consumption figure. The same with your mobile phone bill. When you see your mobile phone bill, you can look to see how that bill was made up, and you can change your usage the next month. Maybe you don't call your aunt in San Francisco for so long because that was expensive. But utilities, it's just a single amount, no transparency of how that was developed, no ability for you to make those decisions on how you use energy more efficiently. And when it comes to mobile apps, consumers prioritize bill display and outage information as the must-haves for their mobile application. Disruptive technologies are daring to drive a new customer expectations as technology becomes more and more ingrained in their lives. And I can see many cell phones out here today from the stage. Let's finally mention, or penultimately mention, our workforce. Our workforce is changing as well. These customers are also working for us in Meralco and for other companies within the industry. We need to meet the challenging customer demands, but also meet the demands of a new generation of employees who want to be connected, they want to work anywhere, anytime, they want to get access 24/7, they want productivity and collaboration tools. And millennials value innovation. Around 60% say that state-of-the-art technology is important in them considering a job. And businesses, all businesses, need to respond to these changes to attract, retain, and get the most out of their employees. Last but not least, and following on from Chair's address, retail competition and deregulation fundamentally changes the business model. Perhaps the biggest change we'll go through is deregulation and retail competition. And for many Asian countries, it's around the corner. And this will fundamentally change our business model. We need the technology in place to adapt and to offer new products or service to our companies. And thinking about competition won't necessarily come from the traditional sources. As taxi firms saw competition and hotels, technology companies can come along and disrupt. And for me, battery and storage is our Uber. It's an opportunity for technology companies to offer an alternative to the traditional distribution utility and offer a more technology-fueled, better customer interaction. And that's really how something like Uber and Airbnb disrupted their industries, and really the same can happen to us. And if you look in Australia, Telstra recently launched a battery and storage, a telephone company launched a battery and storage initiative together with the PowerShop internet company. So what are we doing at Meralco? We recognize the need to transform, and we're transforming through 6 digital pivots, we're calling 6 focus areas: digital customer interaction, digital grid operations, digital asset management, digital field worker, digital energy products and services, and digital enterprises. So on the customer side, we're looking at new ways that we can interact with our customers through our mobile app. We are looking to allow people to pay for their bill online, report outages online, give feedback online. On the grid side, we're installing more and more sensors into the network that will provide a wealth of information and automation to our engineers. And this allows us to quickly monitor, control, and manage the health of our network. We'll take asset management a step further by leveraging technology to look at the real-time health of our assets within the field. And we'll look at big data for asset health and asset investment decisions. Digital field worker enabled by the improvements in mobility will allow us to empower employees with information anytime, anywhere, and support our field force operations. Digital any product and services is looking at new unregulated businesses that we can offer to our customers, such as home services, etc. And finally, digital transformation is not just about technology, it's about people. So how do you create this culture, this DNA of technology and innovation around the firm? So in summary, we've looked at a range of technologies that will affect the electricity industry. Firstly, we're not immune to disruption. As we saw with the hotel industry, the transport industry, and the media industry, new business models can come in and they can bypass the need for large capital investment. For utilities, it's renewable and battery storage that can disrupt and bypass the need for capital investment. DUs need to embrace this new technology. We need to help customers reap the benefit that this new technology provides. This requires new regulatory framework and a fundamental shift in the way that we operate our business. We looked at disruptive technologies affecting our network operations, like smart grid, ADMS, more sensors on the network, self-healing network, a more intelligent, smarter grid. We looked at IT perspective, the third IT platform, mobility, the rise of mobility, social media, big data, DUs becoming more and more data-driven, and utilizing cloud computers as shift away from the traditional IT model. We also need to be ready for a new type of customers who want more transparency, more convenience, and more products and services. Customers who interact with us in different ways than what we're used to. Looking at new tools for our workplace so we can attract and retain the right talent. And looking at deregulation and competition as opportunities to create new business models, and looking at alternative sources of revenue like electric vehicles, home automation, etc. As the largest distribution utility in the Philippines, Meralco is ready to face these challenges. Our digital pivot, combined with technology and people development at the heart, will ensure we remain relevant in an ever-changing world. It will ensure we're able to support new technologies like solar, wind, and battery. It will ensure modern technology to build an electricity grid fit for the future and to support the growth of the Philippines. It will ensure Meralco is able to respond to our changing regulatory environment, and most importantly, to ensure we're able to meet our changing customer needs by opening new digital channels for them to interact with us, providing more information and more insights, and then more products and innovative service. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat.